everyone, and welcome to today's Free Training Friday. My name is Kaylee, and I'm a marketing coordinator here at Abacus Next. Today we'll be discussing the AbacusLaw Mobile App, and we have with us Ben Fu de Lemos. He is a software trainer here. This will be approximately a 30-minute webinar today. We'll take your questions at the end, so please feel free to put your questions in the questions portion of the control pane. This is also being recorded, so don't worry about taking any notes. We will be sending you the video link later on. Without further ado, I'll let Ben Fu take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Kaylee, for that. Thank you for attending today's Free Training Friday. As you know, there's obviously a new addition to the many that we've been doing them throughout for many months now. Okay, today's training is going to be, Free Training Friday will be for work on the go with the Abacus Mobile App. Okay, so as I started, this is going to be rather a short and sweet version of a Free Training Friday. In today's agenda, what we have in store are the prerequisites of what it takes to actually have the mobile app installed. We're going to go over then the installation, and we're going to give you a small demo of how the interface is and how it looks on your actual mobile app for Abacus Law. And then, of course, like always, we're going to open up to the questions and answers towards the very end. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to go straight into what we like to call our knowledge base in our website, which is, you can type KB and then abacuslaw.com, and it'll take you straight into our knowledge base. In here, when you're in it, if you are just curious as to the actual process that it takes, yourself can do this. Anybody can actually install their own mobile app, of course, after they have gone through the the payment and paying the license for the separate mobile apps. Okay, so I'm simply going to put in here mobile app, have a question and search for it, and then we're going to go into what we call the Abacus Mobile App Install Guide. In here, you will be able to see step by step everything that is required first as a prerequisite, and then it'll take you on a guide on how to install it. So first things first, when it comes to the prerequisites, as stated here, you have to make sure that you also have the APC, in other words, the Abacus Private Cloud. If you don't have APC, you won't be able to use the mobile app. Okay, so that's obviously one of the prerequisites. Then, of course, if the whole purpose of the mobile app is that you'll be able to do time entries on the fly, even working offline, that sort of thing. So you obviously need to have Abacus accounting for it to obviously maximize the ability of the mobile app as well. Now, every single mobile subscription, you need to also have a separate license. So normally speaking, let's say if you have a firm of 10 employees and you want those 10 same employees to actually have access to mobile app as well, you need to pay separately for those mobile apps. Okay, and last but not least, you're going to have install the Abacus Law, the latest version, which is, I shouldn't say the latest version, but at least the version which is 23.24. As far as checking to see whether or not you have the correct version of the Abacus Law, you can go into Abacus Law version, you can go into the help icon and then check to see under Abacus Law which version you have already. Okay, so those are the prerequisites when it comes to the actual installation. And then what I'm going to do next is I am going to try to pull up here the actual Abacus Law so I can show you how easy it is to install it. Okay, so give me just a second. I'm going to click on my Abacus Law. So after you've actually paid for the licenses, what is going to be then required of you is to actually activate those particular licenses. So you have to reactivate it in the system, and for that, I'm going to walk you through how you would do that. Okay. So in the event that you would go then into your file here at the top, you would then go into register. And when you get the registration, you're going to have to reactivate it. What that does is if the licenses are in place, you can then reactivate those licenses so it syncs in and lets you know, okay, now you have the ability to use your mobile licenses. Obviously, if you purchase 20 in this case for your regular license for Abacus Law and then the web sync licenses, the number should match up to the amount that you have. Just hit activate and you'll be ready to go. So after you activate it, then of course comes the point as an administrator, you're going to start setting up each one of these, okay? So your first step is to go into the system options. Okay, under system options, you're going to go into, first thing you're going to set up, make sure you set up the time and date zone of where you're in, obviously where you're at, we're at Pacific time, so that's my case. After you set up that time zone, then you can proceed over into features. After you're in the features section, you'll then have the ability to click on, you see how I have my mobile apps already checked, that's because I already have done it, but you would click on the cog. After you click on the cog, it's just as simple as checking the box where it says enable mobile access. So now all throughout the system, in the system options, you've enabled it. And now it's just a matter as a system administrator to go into each individual user. So in other words, you're going to go to setup, user preferences, and under each individual user, you're going to go into the sync and mobile section. And there you would have to enable and sync the mobile web features for this user. And then you will already have the number of your firm or your customer ID in place. And then what we suggest you either put the initials of each one that you're setting up. So if you're the administrator, like in this case I am, I'm going to put my initials, and then I'm going to set up my password for that. Okay? So if you were to do it for others, you could also do the same thing. You would then set up each one of the users yourself, put their initials, and you can set up their passwords. But if you don't want as an administrator to go in and do every single one of the users, you can have each one of them go into the section of the user preferences, go into the sync and mobile, and then come in here, of course, and just put their initials and then whatever password they have. At the end of the day, you're going to hit done. And when that's done, obviously, you will then, of course, all of you will need to make sure that you have your app in your phones, whether they're obviously for your iPhones or your Androids or whatever the case may be. And then obviously you need to have it. And that's free. There's no charge to getting that mobile app. And then you should then sign in. So what I'm going to do now is go back into, I'm going to show you the installation. I'm going to give you a demonstration. But before I get into the demonstration, I'd just like to let you know about some of the features and the advantage of the mobile app. That, of course, is for iOS and Android. So the whole point that when you're on the go is that you'll be able to access any of your client matters and be able to enter any particular time. So now there is really no, I don't want to say an excuse, but you could be more diligent when it comes to entering your time into any specific one of your matters. So when you're making a phone call and you want to turn that phone call into then a time ticket, you're able to do that now on the fly. All right. Same concept. If you have a note that you need to enter with regards to any one of your matters, you can do that as well. So it really just simplifies all of it. You can even work offline. Okay. So when you're working offline, you don't obviously need to be connected to internet or whatnot. You can have all that set up. The minute then you synchronize it back into, you go back into your Abacus Law desktop, and everything will sync in automatically. So it's a really obviously nice way of now being to be able to do everything on the fly, on the go, and not have to wonder, whether things are, being up to date when it comes to your time, your notes, your phone calls, and anything with related to your clients and matters. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how it all looks under, here we go. Here we go. All right, so this is the screen. You can see right off the bat, this is where you're going to put that same ID number that we were referring to. So this is going to be your ID, customer ID number then with your initials. And then that same password that you entered in the installation process that I showed you before, that's where you're going to enter it in here. So as long as you're set up the way I showed you, every user has that setup done, then they can come into the app after they've downloaded, and then they can obviously sign in or log in this way. Okay? When you're signing in, you're logging in, then you'll be able to see this is the interface when it comes to, let's say, one of the, this is going to be your name is going to show up here, of course, and then you have all the different menus that you can go into: matters, time tickets, phone calls, notes, of course, settings, and then sign out. It's a pretty straightforward, pretty user-friendly. It really just helps the way you guys are able to then, simply take a note, simply put in a time, enter sign tickets, and of course make phone calls. So I'm going to go show you more or less how it works. So after I click on my matters, these will always have at the top, you'll notice that it says recent matters. So now that's going to give you a display of all the matters that you have within your Abacus Law. It's simply just going to be showcasing the ones that you're recently working on. So you can always search, right, at any given point for any specific ones, okay? If I put, let's say, start putting in the name of one of my matters, it'll then take me to that specific matter, okay? If I then go into that specific matter, I have the ability to then see everything within there. So there's the information of the client ID, case number, obviously your case code, and then this is where you have the ability, if you want to build to a client, whether it's making a phone call or you're simply just doing an email, okay, this is where you want to make sure that you just click on whatever icon you need to click on. So, and either goes, you said you're making a phone call, and then gives you options of the different phones. Obviously, if there's multiple phones, if there's a cell phone, a day phone, an evening phone, you have all that access there. Make the right call. Say you're calling to the cell phone. After you call the cell phone, it goes through, the call ends, and then you'll be able to see that it tracks the actual time ticket. So you have the ability to now log in your time as you just made the phone call. So the details of this, if that's what you choose to do, right, it will come up on the next screen. If you say, no, thanks, I don't really need to keep track of this as a time ticket, then you're good to go, right? So you have your options. There's the flexibility with that, which is a nice feature. Then it turns it into a time ticket. You see how it gives me the name and then my matter, the outgoing call. It'll tell me how long the time was of the phone call, and obviously then says in the description the phone call to Janet Bailey. And then you'll notice from here that you can then press done, and you can then proceed into creating the time ticket if that's what you agreed to. Okay, if it's something that you want to refrain or you want to go back to, you can always say no thanks. So there's several points or prompts that you get that give you the ability to cancel out on the particular time ticket if you're not sure that you want to do that. But then again, the whole purpose of it is to give you that flexibility to create these time tickets so that you can then move forward and keep track of everything that you're doing. The time ticket will then look like this. It tells you the amount of hours, the date, the information, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And then all you got to do is hit done. And once you do that, it'll take you back then to the name if you want to make another phone call. Okay? So that's the concept behind any given matter. Again, if you pick a different matter now that you want to add, and let's say, well, you don't want to do a phone call, and this time you want to write an email, well, you also obviously have that option. It'll take you straight to the email prompt here that will say, okay, you're emailing Janet as an example here. When you hit email, it'll take you to already a draft where you can just start typing in. And after that's the case, you can always then hit send. And then it creates a time ticket as well. So again, the whole purpose of the app is to be able to track your emails, your phone calls, your notes, and obviously have the flexibility to turn those into time tickets. Okay? So again, if I hit yes here, you'll then see my description, email correspondence is going in, and then it'll just go through. So all of this is being stored. You're going to have the options to do different types of time tickets, whether they're emails, whether they're phone calls. And then, of course, last but not least, if I wanted to go back in here and I simply just wanted to, let's say you wanted to add a note, you can click on the notes menu. You see how there's notes already for some of the other matters that I've created. Or you can always go and click on the note at the top so you can add. Make sure you enter the matter that you want to enter it. Now you're going to look for that matter. And you'll be able to then type in whatever note you would like, and then click done as well. So pretty intuitive, pretty easy to do, honestly, when it comes to just keeping track of time. All of this is going to be in your device. Remember, you don't need to be online in order to do all this. You can be offline. And then simply put, when you go back to your desktop, you'll see that everything is already synced in with all these new notes that you've tracked over. So as far as going back to your hamburger here or your 3-stack, that will take you always back to the main menu. You can go strictly into phone calls from there. You can even see the recent phone calls that you've made. You'll see outgoing calls, incoming calls. You can even go into the settings, and that would give you of what the settings that you want to see being reflected. As of right now, is just reflecting the date range of the last 7 days. So you have options as far as the settings are concerned, the phone calls of what you're viewing, but the simpler you keep track of these settings, obviously the less information is there. It's actually clean cut and to the point and precise. So you have different ways of creating time tickets, whether it's from the matters, whether it's directly from going into a time ticket menu here, and then adding a new time ticket plus here. You have options, okay? Then you can select the matter, the one that you want, and then it'll take you back into here. So you have, again, as I mentioned before, different ways to go about doing the time ticket, whether you go through the matter first or whether you go through the time ticket menu as well. And if you want to just go back to the very beginning, again, you get the stack, and then you can go back into your original page. Okay, so bottom line is, again, the features that where this excels is doing time tickets on the fly, on the go. Okay, whether it's keeping track of phone calls, notes, and of course, emails that you want to turn into time tickets. So with that said, I am going to turn it over to Kaylee to see if there are any questions.
Great. First, before we get to the questions, I already see that some of you have sent us your questions. Thank you so much. We're going to run a quick poll. As we've already disclosed, in order to get the mobile app, you do need to have Abacus Private Cloud. So we're going to launch this poll, and you can let us know if you would like more information about Abacus Private Cloud, if you would like us to email you later, probably sometime next week. We will get back to you about that. And I'll just keep, I'll let these, we'll take a few more seconds here. Alrighty, thanks everybody so much. Okay, so on to one more poll very quickly. We just want to make sure that when we plan these free training Fridays, you get the most out of it and that we are helping you in all the areas that you would like to have help. So we're going to, oh, never mind. The poll closed. User error on my behalf. So if you want to see other areas of Abacus Law being covered in Free Training Friday, just send us an email at webinars@abacusnext.com. We're always interested in knowing what areas you want more training on. So without any more polls, let's jump into the Q&A. First up, do you have to have APC? Yes, you do. Sorry, we did cover that one already. Can you add more details when billing a phone call and email?
As in adding more details to the actual note itself. So the note that after you make the phone call, yes, you can edit that portion where the phone call was made. You can do further edits to that, whatever verbiage comes up, because obviously it's automated, but then you can expand on that, yes.
Can one view all of the notes and events already added to a matter?
You cannot view the events in the mobile app. For that, you would need to go to Abacus Law. Where the mobile app actually excels at is being able to just seeing the notes that you're entering. You won't be able to see all the notes that are in the actual Abacus Law desktop. You're only seeing the ones you recently entered, and those will get synced in when you open up your Abacus Law.
Great. The next question, is there a way to access my calendar with the Abacus mobile app?
So the answer to that as of right now is no. We don't have that capability in the mobile app to access your calendar for calendaring purposes. And that has been a question that's been asked quite some time, and that's something I think we are looking into, but have yet to add as a feature.
Alrighty, we still have a few more moments if anyone has any more questions. Also, please note that we did attach a handout to this Free Training Friday. It is an overview about Abacus Private Cloud for those of you who are interested in learning more about it. Happily, I'm looking at the results. A lot of you are already on APC, so that's awesome, and we hope that you get the mobile app if you haven't already. And if you ever need more training, where can everyone go, Ben Fu?
Well, as far as training is concerned, and if you haven't already set up, depending on the product line, of course, in this case it's Abacus Law, we do have in our website, under our AbacusNext.com, you can then go into the portion of scheduling. So I'm going to go AbacusNext.com, and then I'm going to do / and I'm going to do schedule. And when I type in / schedule, you're going to get directed towards a section where then it's going to tell you talk to you about the different types of products that we have to offer. Schedule with our professional services team today. And within that, of course, we have our different products. So when it comes to Abacus Law, Amicus Attorney, Results, and Office Tools, you're able to access, obviously, your main concern, obviously, in this case, would be Abacus Law. You're going to click first on Abacus Law and then Abacus Accounting, and you're going to click on Select. In there, there's going to be Balance and Billing as a Service. So that is not actual training, that is actual service that's being provided. So the one that you really want to click on, as far as training is concerned, whether it's onboarding or specialized or customized training, is going to be this one at the bottom, and you would hit Book Now. So based on that, then we have different services, actual trainings that we offer. Anywhere from the Abacus Accounting onboarding training session, that's going to be session 1 or 2, okay? And it will explain all these answers. You have also billing onboarding trainings. When it comes to Abacus, you have specialized trainings where after you've done your onboarding training and you need subsequent action items as far as being able to test out the waters, and then you have all these questions that come along with all your users, and just pile those questions together and then be able to, you know, maybe select the specialized training and afford those in there so that you can then book a whole hour where we can answer those specific questions after you've actually given it a go after the onboarding process. We obviously do have your onboarding for Abacus Law, which covers the basics. And then, of course, your Abacus onboarding session 2. So all of these are having to be 2 hours. For those of you that can handle 2 hours at one whole swoop, we have a full session that would cover then, of course, the 2 sessions at once. But there's the breakdown as far as all the trainings that we offer for Abacus Law. And we're very, obviously, always very welcoming and helpful when it comes to these. Some folks like Abacus Law just for the practice or case management purposes, and that's great. They end up just doing the onboarding, and then they move on to specialized training with regards to maybe forms generation, maybe a little bit of calendaring, maybe rules specifically, or if you're using the Abacus Law for all 3 of its facets, whereas case management, practice management, of course, billing and accounting, we have all these classes to make sure that you're up to date and you're on board.
Great, that's really helpful information, Ben Fu. Another question, do you have plans to add the ability to view the docs attached to the matter?
Is this for the mobile app? Yes. Well, we are obviously always looking for enhancements when it comes to our products that we offer, and we definitely listen to our clients. So the more of these suggestions are coming on board, and the more more of the feedback that we get from our clients, we always tap into that to make sure that we know what it is that we need to offer to our clients. So yes, we always are looking into that capabilities, whether that's coming down the road immediately or in the future. That obviously remains to be seen. But please keep sending those suggestions, those feedbacks, because obviously we always cater to our clients, and eventually we try to provide the best service and the best product out there.
All right, thanks. One more question. Will my cell phone number show up when I call clients through the app?
That's a good question. I think you got me on that one. I would have Kaylee get back to you on that. I am not 100% sure.
We will get back to you.
We'll get back to you on that one.
We'll email you. We know who you are. Well, I think we'll let you type in any other questions you might have. But regardless, thank you everybody so much for joining. Look out for the follow-up email. We will have the recording sent to you, as well as there's another webinar coming up soon. So check out the email for that. Thank you so much, Ben Fu.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great, wonderful weekend and day and holiday season.
Woo! All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good one.